Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the vault. Trust Christian O not to control everything. Appreciate you for tuning in live or listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody for tuning in live or listening to replay. Just wanted to do an episode today. This is the Vault episode 246. Legacy, Generational Wealth. This is a very important episode because we have so many people that contact the Vault. They reach out to the Vault and sometimes they may even second guess, what they're doing when they're on the consultation and what they're doing at that very moment. But, we want to paint a picture for people today on something that people say that they want. And they look at the Rothschilds, they look at the Rockefellers, they look at the Kennedys and the States, they look at the Bushes, they look at the Clintons, they look at these different last names and they say, these people have a legacy. They put themselves, woven themselves into American history. They've woven themselves into business history. And we wanted to do an episode today to talk about what's really going on. What is the marketplace really asking for when it comes to a legacy? And we want to talk about that because there are a lot of people that have legacy and generational wealth misunderstood. Some people say, well, what do you know about that, Trust Christian? We know all about that at the Vault. That's why we do what we do. We sit in the environments that other families sit and see. When you're in legacy and generational wealth building, you sit with the other families that are holding wealth. You don't sit around poor people. Poor people can't help poor people, ladies and gentlemen. What is the legacy going to be for poor people? To be poor. The legacy of people that are going to do something, they're going to do. They're going to create. So let's talk about today the legacy and the generational wealth building that so many people get misunderstood because people think that a lot of people fall into generational wealth. Ladies and gentlemen, if you understand how wealth is built, it's built over generations. You have to write a manual. You have to create a template for the next generation to follow. If you don't come from a template of wealth building, how can you build wealth? We already know most people are just talking smack. And that's something that the Vault had to realize throughout the years, is that people were just talking that they wanted to build generational wealth, that they were just talking that they wanted to build a legacy. They didn't, because it actually requires work. It actually requires a generational sacrifice. Each generation has to make a sacrifice. Some people say, what do you mean, what is the sacrifice? The sacrifice may be time, it may be passions. You may have to sacrifice for the family and the last name instead of your first name. So people can know who you are, or do you want people to know who your last name is? Who your family last name is? This is where we are in the world today, where people say, they contact the Vault, they say to the Vault, hey, I want to get inside of trustee training. For what? You want to get in trustee training to learn how to be a trustee over a public trust? Perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. But what are your expectations when you come to the Vault? Is your expectation truly generational wealth and legacy and generational wealth? Or is it for the write-offs? Everybody wants the write-offs, right? Everybody wants the benefits of minimization. Not being able to be sued out of assets because things aren't in your name. Is that what you're coming to the Vault for? Or are you truly coming for legacy and generational wealth building? Because if you're coming for legacy and generational wealth building, let's start counting the opportunity cost loss for every day that you don't invest in your private education. Let's talk about it. Ladies and gentlemen, do you think the cost is going to go up on your education, or you think it's going to go down? Think about college. Is college the same price that it was 50 years ago, 25 years ago? No, it is not. There's a cost to the education. There's a cost to be the boss. Are you going to pay that cost? Ladies and gentlemen, we talk to people in the private sector all the time. People say, Trust Christian, why do you share that information with those people over the internet? They don't want to know the truth. They don't want to know that they're going to have to sacrifice. They don't want to know that they're going to have to work hard. They don't want to know that they're not going to be able to take days off for years at a time until they actually put together some systems that can pay them for the rest of their life and their children's and their grandchildren's and their great grandchildren. Really? Is that true? Is that true to Vault audience? Is that you're not going to work to get to that point? That's what the private trustees say. The private trustees say, are they going to invest in their private education? What is your private education, ladies and gentlemen? It's trustee training. It's acquiring the assets that are necessary to move your family forward. How can you move forward if you're in a liable position, a limited liability one? How can you move forward if you're in a C corp position, or if you don't even know why you're in an S corp position? Is that what's going on? So that's where we are today, ladies and gentlemen. Are you in a position where you truly can pass along wealth? Not just tax-free, but pass it along properly. Are you working to work? Are you really working to build a legacy? Are you doing 8 hours of work for your legacy every single day? For your legacy. Ladies and gentlemen, we already know. We've seen the statistics. They say 80% of the population is going to die dead broke. The other 20% of the population, they say 10 to 15% of them, some of them are going to be living off of their family, welfare, and a little bit of savings. And then you got less than 5% of the population that's actually going to have put together a system. Have you heard the saying that the 80-20 rule, where 80% of the work you do produces 20% of the results? Is that what you all are afraid of? Are you afraid of 80% of the work producing 20% of the results? Is that what you're afraid of? Because you don't know that 20% of the results is going to pay you 80% for the rest of your life? That's what it is. People are afraid of the 80% work, and that's why 80% of them are working a job. It's because you have to put in the work. Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay from Alaska. Got a bunch of people listening in from Alaska. Always appreciate them. Feel free to type into the chat where you're listening from. That's where we are, ladies and gentlemen. When you come to the vault, the question is, are you going to do the work? Are you going to study? Appreciate Antioch, California. Tuning in live, listening to replay out in Antioch, California. Are you going to do the work? Because that's what this comes down to, ladies and gentlemen. We were thinking about how, and we're not going to ruin that episode, because we're all exchanging some type of value. Appreciate Memphis, Tennessee for tuning in live, listening to the replay. Memphis, Tennessee. We're all going to exchange value. Are you giving your precious minutes and your life away to a job? Or are you going to step up and do something for your family? Are you waiting for mom and dad? Are you waiting for your brothers and sisters? Are you waiting for your cousins? Are you waiting for your children because you think your children are younger? Well, if my children are younger, I'm already over the hill. Is generational wealth not important to you? You worked your whole life. You're willing to die with no will. You're willing to die with no trust. You're willing to die with nothing in place. Have you trained a successor trustee? Have you put your successor trustees through trustee training? Have you continued your education to get around the right people so you can find people that can help you perpetuate the wealth from one generation to the next? Or is it not important to you? Is the virtual football games important to you right now over your generational and legacy? The virtual football games, the virtual basketball games, the virtual sports. People should be baffled. How are these people making money? They don't have fans in the stands. People don't want to believe that they're charities, though. Those charities don't leave from one generation to the next. Are these people smarter than you that have these basketball teams and football teams? Are they smarter than you? Oh, you say they're richer than you, though, right? They're richer than me. Let's go check. Go and Google your favorite team and see that they have generational wealth before the last generation. But they created a legacy. They keep a team in their family name. And their team might suck. But that's where we are, ladies and gentlemen. Is we're dealing with a population that doesn't feel that they possibly need to build generational wealth, that they don't need to do things properly. People say, well, when do you need to start estate planning? You are estate planning as soon as you start working. Wow, what are you working for? You working for your first name or your last name? What are you working for? That's what people are working for. They're working for their first name. That's where we are nowadays, ladies and gentlemen. And are people going to step up to the plate and get business done? Set up some type of business, set up some type of income stream for their family? Is that so hard? You went through 12 years of public school. You barely remember algebra. You barely remember trigonometry. You barely remember calculus. You barely remember those classes that you went through. Did the public school do a number on you and your family? Hold on, you got a degree, right? Did the college level do a number on your family? They put you out of school with student loans. But did you learn how to build estate planning? Legacy? Generational wealth? Did they do that? Appreciate Texas for tuning in live, listening to the replay. What happened, ladies and gentlemen? Are you going to be the smartest person in the room? Or are you going to get around people that are smarter than you? Step up to the plate and change your family legacy. Estate plan a legacy to build generational wealth. People say, I don't know what to do. You got to start doing something. You don't have to own it. You just got to control it. Does your job control your time? Would you consider yourself a slave at your job? Do they own you? Do they own your time? They don't own you, but they control it. When you're there, until you want to take back mental control, until you want to take back physical control of your body. Are you in control of your body if you're not in control of your mind? How can you be in control of your body? How can you say that you're not a physical slave when you're not in control of your mind? Someone is occupying the 6 inches between your ears for 8 hours a day. You're okay with that? How much longer are you going to be okay with that? Are you really looking to build an estate plan, a legacy, and generational wealth? Because if you are, you're not going to be able to look at the mainstream news anymore. The mainstream news is saying they should put in universal health care. They should put in universal income. Really? Where's that going to come from? Ladies and gentlemen, there is a contradictory thought process. Think about it. The people at school, why would they tell you to become a millionaire? The teachers weren't millionaires, were they? Think about it. You went to college. Did they teach you to be a millionaire? Were they millionaires? No. You have to let go of the thing that sold you a bag of nothing. Sold you a bag of debt. You have to let these old thought processes go. You have to let go of old friends. They have to become old. If they don't, you don't have to worry about not having an estate plan. You think money is the reason why you have an estate plan? Ladies and gentlemen, we go through entrustee training. Case after case after case after case after case after entertainer after entertainer after athlete after athlete. That guess what? They don't have their estate set up properly. They want to write their estates down on toilet paper. They don't want to have a will. Or they do want to have a will. They don't want to have a trust. You listen to the vote and you see trustee training, but you think you can associate with people that aren't focused on trustee training? Why do you think you're not getting the results fast enough? Power of association and estate planning is critical. Generational wealth building is critical. This is why people in wealth building circles, they intermarry their children. So they don't have to reprogram a son-in-law, a daughter-in-law to not be poor. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a real gut check time for people in 2020 that had the opportunity, that were sitting at home throughout the year. They get ready to go into the Christmas season. Jobs are improving. The economy's getting better. It's opening up. People don't want to sit in the house throughout the winter season. They're saying, oh, there's going to be no Black Friday. Yeah, right. People are willing to stand in line for those years. They're willing to stand in line with a mask. And they're willing to stand in line and wait. Oh, no, just have your business on the internet, though. Sure. What happened to the old school business of building a business in your local area? A local doctor, a local pharmacist. Those people still exist. And those people have built generational wealth, having their name be good throughout the community for generations. People say, well, can I go to an estate planner and the estate planner is going to do me right? You know, with the private side? Ladies and gentlemen, the vault is called the vault for a reason, because it's private. The estate planning sector on the public side is just that, it's public. But why weren't you given the tools to perpetuate wealth from one generation to the next? You ready for the answer? Because you went to public school. And now you got to get rid of public thought process. And if you don't get rid of public thought process, you're not going to get out of the public. Bottom line, if you think you can get out of the public by hanging around public people, you're not. It's a dead end. That's why they're still in the public. If they were so smart, why aren't they in the private? Because they're public. And you have to know the difference. And you have to wise up so you can rise up. To estate planning, legacy, and generational wealth building. But are you going to do that? Is it hard to leave your friends behind? Is it hard to leave your family behind? You know what they say? Oh, you said you were never going to change. It was always in your heart. You always wanted to build generational wealth. They didn't. Because if they did, they would be doing like Khan and practicing. And when? Right now. Not years from now, when they're going to be on their last legs. Right now. How do you know what day is promised to you? You don't know how many days are numbered. But all of a sudden, we're in a generation where that doesn't matter anymore. People don't even want to work 40 hours a week to build their family legacy. They want to take the shortcut on the shortcut. But then they love seeing the interviews of Elon Musk. They love seeing the interviews of Jeff Bezos. These are men that work 60, 70, 80, 100 hours a week plus. And you think you're going to generate wealth? Forget it. You think you're going to get over the hump to be a millionaire? Look at your family legacy. Are any of them millionaires? No. Or yes. And if they are, you have to ask yourself, do you want to do it the same exact way that they did it? Because if you don't, it's not duplicatable. So you're not going to learn it. It has to be learnable. It has to be teachable. It has to be duplicatable. That's the system of estate planning, legacy, generational wealth. That is it. It has to be learnable. You have to be able to learn an estate plan. It has to be teachable. What are you teaching? To build a legacy. And what's duplicatable? Building generational wealth from one generation to the next. Maybe you don't need the children to get billions of dollars and $1 trillion. Every generation has to build $1 million. That helps out the next generation. Having an insurance policy for the next generation to the next generation is a form of estate planning, legacy, wealth generation. That's what it is. You can go get a simple life insurance policy on yourself. But guess what? Most people are going to give it to the wrong person. They're going to give it directly to the beneficiary. With no type of plan to it. Do they have to learn something with the education, or they just get a windfall of money and they squander it in one generation? It happens all the time. The statistics are high. Some people say, why even talk about this in the public? When we talk about the others, when we talk about the days, is that what we're here to talk about? The days? Or are we here to talk about you and what you're going to do for your family? Are you going to step up for your family? Are you? You turning your head looking at someone else. You're hoping that they're going to come. You hope mom and dad's going to come. You hope your brother's going to come. You hope your cousin's going to come. You hope they're going to come. And then you find out that you're the lone soldier. Because that's what it is in generational wealth building. Think about it. 80 to 90% of the people you know went to public school. They weren't programmed to learn how to build generational wealth. What makes the difference now? There is no difference. They're older and dumber. You think it's a game? They're going to die without wealth, passing it along from one generation to the next. And what are you going to do? You're going to blame your friends for not doing it? Well, my friends didn't do it, so I'm not going to do it. Right. You know you can change lives with an estate plan, legacy, and generational wealth. You can change lives for sacrificing some time instead of watching the virtual football games and virtual this and virtual that and virtual reality. Are you going to put down those childish ways and become a man and a woman? Or are we living in a fake reality where people are swapping? Huh? You want VR and AR and IR? Or are you going to focus on the reality that, hey, we need some hard, tangible things? I want my name to be remembered in history. I want to have some type of college fund for children for the next generation to the next. Wow. People talk about there's no generational wealth building from one generation to the next in the African American community. But then what's so interesting, most people don't even know Donald Trump passed a law. This is a law on the United States books, not on the black people's books, the United States books. Black people didn't make the United States, the United States books. The United States book says they will permanently fund HBCUs. That's a part of his legacy. But the black president didn't do it. Did he? That's a part of his legacy. His estate plan. His generational legacy will say that he made sure that African American colleges, HBCUs, are permanently funded out of the United States taxpayer dollar. It doesn't matter what color you are. You got to pay taxes to keep HBCUs open. You can Google it. But y'all think this is a game? Y'all let him claim the fame? But y'all worried about virtual basketball, virtual football, virtual this. And y'all don't even want to pay the student loans back that he's trying to keep up. That's why they were going under. That's why they keep raising the prices on college. People don't want to pay back their student loans. People are happy to die with student loans. Bums. But you were so happy to go through school and get free lunch, right? Poor people mentality, ladies and gentlemen. How can you make America great? America stays great when people step up and pay the bills. Stop trying to kick their can down the road to the next generation. Oh, we're going to pass along this debt to the next generation. That's what's going on now? Did your parents leave you debt? Did they leave you a liability that you can't even build into an asset? Are you okay with that? Are you okay with not knowing the private knowledge? How can you be okay with not knowing the private truth, but you're okay with the public lie? The public lie? The public lie is general welfare? Welfare? That's the estate plan for the public? It's SSI? That's the estate plan? Oh, just wait till the end of your life And then they even tell you, well, you can't bank on Social Security, so why are we paying into it? Put it in the people's hands. But guess what? You let your politicians say that you're too dumb to know the difference between a good investment and a bad investment. Oh, really? Is that what they're saying with Social Security? You're too dumb to know how to put your money in a good investment from a bad investment? All the stock markets have gone up since they started. That sounds like a good investment. But oh no, no. People got to give their money over to the SSI. That's before you even can take the money and put it into the market and grow. But you got to now, hey, we got to go through a broker. We got to go through some goofball that's carrying peanut butter jellies in his briefcase to work, because he can't afford lunch, because he's living on student loans and trying to make $30,000, $60,000 living in New York on Wall Street, $80,000 on Wall Street. That's not enough. You think $80,000 is enough money to live in New York? You think $80,000 is enough money to live in California? But you're gonna give your money to that guy, right? Oh no, we're gonna do the dummy plan. Appreciate Mississippi for tuning in live, listening to replay. Shout out Mississippi. We're gonna do the dummy plan. We're gonna give our money over to Acorn. Right. And every time you give your money over to Acorn, this company is selling your data. If you don't pay for the product, you are the product. You want to repeat that again? We'll remix it. If you don't pay for the product, you are the product. It's the same thing with Facebook. It's the same thing with IG. If you don't pay for the product, you are the product. Get hip to the game. Get rid of the public school education. Start investing in your private education. Appreciate Texas for tuning in live. More people from Texas tuning in live, listening to replay. So your estate plan is now you're going to be the product, right? You're not going to build a product or a service for someone else to have. Ladies and gentlemen, there's more than enough people. There weren't even 3 billion people in the world at the beginning of the 1900s. We are in the 2000s. There's 7 billion people in the world. You will be able to be wealthy. You will be able to be wealthy. You have to believe in yourself. Who you waiting to believe in you? The school teachers? The ones that didn't tell you how to plan your estate? Who you waiting for? Your parents? You waiting for your friends? You waiting for your family? The ones that aren't on board with you? Or are you going to pull your pants up and you're going to get going on the road? And it might start out a little lonely, but guess what? When you come over to the estate plan, legacy, generational wealth, you have to build a team. We know that. We educate you in trustee training. You build a team. You build a team of lawyers. You build a team of accountants. You build a team of other people that have expertise in certain investment fields. Asset managers. You find securities agents. You find these people that can help you build better financial plans. All financial planners aren't created equal. It's up to you all, ladies and gentlemen, what you're going to do. We already know that. Are you still asking yourself these questions? You just got to do it. Bottom line, you just got to do it. And there's no way around it. No one's coming to save no one's going to give you the plan and work the plan for you. Everybody's plan is different. Why do you think we do this? Because we're creating a legacy. There's a few of us out here that are willing to tell you that legacy is more important than a job. But hey, no worries. There's a thing called a fire. And fire needs wood. So since a fire needs wood, a lot of people are going to be the fire. Be the wood to the fire. But do you have the fire in you to not let somebody else use you as firewood? Are you going to light someone else's flames by being the wood? Or are you going to go out and gather some wood? Are you going to give away some jewels and value? Give away some value. Be of value. Sell something. Service something. Do something. But oh no, no. They told us in school if you just get good grades, everything will be alright, right? And we know what that is. A load of BS. Same thing when they say if you go to school and you get a good education, you're going to get out and you're going to make something of yourself. And how did that work out? You got student loans now. And is the population that stupid that they're okay with having debt? When debt makes you a sinner. Remember how they say you were born a sinner? But every citizen's born into debt? Some of us, we don't. Some of us don't participate in the public system. We're not public debtors. Are you? And if you are, how long are you going to play that game? Because it's a losing game. Why are you okay with the country that you say you love puts you in debt? Why are you okay with that? Because of your education. Because of lack of an estate plan. How can you be free as an estate plan, legacy, generational wealth if you're in debt? How can you be free if you're in debt? You're not. Can you sell the debt? People that at least have houses can sell the house. They may not get more for it, but they can sell the house. Not to say everybody wants to buy it, but they have some form of leverage. Do you have any leverage with your student loans? Ladies and gentlemen, you want to know why they do experiments with rats? Because you can train them. So are you a rat? Going on the hamster wheel, going back to forth to work every single day. You're calling the weekend a weekend. The Vault's doing an episode. We got episode scheduled on Tuesday. This is supposed to be the weekend. This is the day off for the jobbers, right? There is no day off for the jobbers. Because we tell you all the time, when you reach the age of 65, 70, they're still working. Just because you haven't got there doesn't mean it's not happening. It's happening. People are working longer. Baby boomers are working longer. What makes you think you're not going to work when you get old? Is Social Security going to be more for you than it is for these guys that first started it out? Are you serious? Yeah. It's going to be more for me, Trust Christian. You know, I didn't get a pension, but somehow it's going to be more for me. The company's not creating pensions nowadays. The companies aren't having 401ks. And then think about it. That's one of the biggest frauds out here. One of the biggest cons out here. How can you live off these numbers? But hey, what does Trust Christian in the Vault know? We know one thing for sure. We know not to own anything but control everything. Trust Christian for sure. We know that. We know how the elite are operating. We sit in the room with these people. We sat in the room with these people for years. We've invested in our private education. That's why we can tell you. It's not a mystery anymore to you. You say, how do I get out of the public? You have to invest in your private education. You can't wait for anybody. Do you collaborate with others? Yes. Do you put a team together? Yes. But if someone's not moving with you, you got to move on. You got to seek and you'll find. It's a law. It's a natural principle. You have to seek the people that have what you want so you can have what you want. The private education. And guess what? You don't get wealthy and stop getting educated. You don't stop getting educated. The Vault is a continuing education program. This isn't the all and be all. This isn't the last stop on the cherry bus. It's the last stop for a lot of people though. If you only knew how much abundance was in this world for you and your family, for your estate plan legacy, for your generational wealth. There is an abundance waiting for you. Just because you went to poor people's school called public school and they told you there's a such thing as supply and demand and lack and limited. But what happens when you come into the private? There's so much wealth sitting on the sidelines for you. So much. People have built legacies. They have these charities called foundations and they're giving money away. They're making money giving it away. because they're the ones that set up their estate properly. The Rockefellers, the Carnegies. You might not like the Carnegies, but they gotta everybody that's in most of the United States that you went to something or know something locally in your state that's named after a Carnegie. Guess what? Trust Christian's working on it. We already know what's going on. You can be that one. You can be a Carnegie. You can be a Rockefeller. They're not above you. They just had tools that you didn't have. When you go to public school, you're not given the tools to succeed. Bottom line. You're given the tools to fail. Look at the system. It has over 1 million people dropping out of high school every single year in the United States. You think it's an accident? If the education was so good and it was going to make people be profitable, they would stay there because it's called an example. People don't quit stuff that they know they're going to make a ton of money at and they have a quality example. They quit because they know it's a failure system. They know that it's a waste of time to learn trigonometry, to learn algebra when they have no interest in it. When all they want to do is learn how to cut hair and be a barber. When they want to learn how to pave streets, let the civil engineer do that. This is where we are. The educational gap. And the educational gap has limited people's estate plan and legacy. And we already know it. And we're here to fill in that gap. There's alternative education out there, and we're one of them. So it's up to you whether you're going to enroll in a trustee training. Christian at trustchristian.com. It's up to you whether you're going to do it. The vault's not going to chase you down. How can the vault chase you down? The vault doesn't spam you in your email. The vault does the episodes. We take our time. We're not in a rush. We don't need you. The vault is offering. Just like the mentors offer Trust Christian in the vault. They say, hey, it's up to you whether you want to do it. We're here to serve. They understand what stewardship was. They understand what it means to have a trustee training program to create successor trustees. That's why we do it. Appreciate you all for tuning in live, listening to replay. When you enroll in trustee training, you learn about how to build that proper estate plan. So you can go out and build a team, so you can go out and select the right people. Even in a consultation, even if you didn't go through the training, just the consultation alone will set you right so you can say, okay, locally, who do I need to talk to? It has to be specific and germane to your situation. You may not need $1 million policy. Maybe you need $500,000 policy. Appreciate New Jersey City for tuning in live, listening to replay. Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay. Feel free to share this with your friends and family. Put your friends and family on the spot. Why aren't they working with you? You want to know why? Because they've been trained to be poor. They've been trained to be selfish. And when you're trained in the private, you learn about building teams. When you're trained in the private, you learn how to trust people. Now say, oh, I ain't going to trust you with my money. That's where we are in the vault. We appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay. Christian at trustchristian.com. Feel free to reach out, Christian at trustchristian.com. And we'll look forward to hearing from you all. Peace and blessings.